testimony this afternoon. I'm currently the president of the Rodriguez Family Foundation, an organization that focuses on education. I'm also an ordained minister with the Assemblies of God Church, judgment to that, and a member of the focus group. I wanted to mention the names of those running for the school board candidates who will be on the ballot on the November 7th general election. And the names are in no particular order. Mary Horn, Kedara Crawford, I'm pronouncing that right. Addie Daniel Raines, Yolanda Madeo Lopez, Larry Traylor, and Ron. We will be posting the colors led by the color guard, Commander Sergeant First Class Patrick from the Trent High School JROTC cadets. So I'm going to ask you to please stand and remain standing until the color guards leave the room. I want to thank the JROTC cadets and their leaders, Sergeant Patrick, for their dedication and participation in all our programs.
Left, big. Breathe, neck, arm.
Sorry.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Order, arms. Right, big. Whoa, bird, arms.
We'll just give them a hand clap. I want to also let everyone know that we're live streaming through the Trenton Journal, WIMG. Once again, I want to welcome all of you, all the attendants, and would like to acknowledge the sponsors of the forum. The focus group on school safety in Trenton Public Schools, Mercer County Community College, VIP College, and the Career Prep Program, and you, the community. I understand that this is a community engagement effort to focus on voter education and participation. This is the first school board election in the last 30 years. I would like to remind all in attendance to please silence their phones and keep individual conversations to a minimum. I understand the passion of seeing our children excel, but we must be respectful and cordial, setting an example for our children to follow. Moderating the forum will be Nicole Platt, co-chairwoman of the Lawrence Township League of Women Voters and a retired journalist. The timekeeper is Kiana Childs, Alexander A. Lawrence Township League of Women Voters. And before I turn it over to Ms. Platt, I want to thank Ray Ingram, Vice President of Trenton Council of Civic Associations, for his volunteer service in videotaping the forum, and of course, Mercer County Community College for the use of their facilities. I will return to the microphone to close out the forum, and at this time, we can begin.
Thank you, Reverend. Good afternoon, and welcome to our forum of candidates for four members of the Trenton Board of Education. There are 6 candidates running, 3 of whom have happily joined us today. There are 3 openings on the ballot for this year's, as we heard, groundbreaking election for your elected Board of Education for the first time in more than 30 years. My name is Nicole Platt, and I'm co-chair of the League of Women Voters of Lawrence, and I'm not a voter in this election. And keeping time for us today is Kiana Childs Alexander, a member of our board of directors of the Lawrence League, also not a voter in this election. She's a resident of Hamilton. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan political organization that encourages informed and active participation in government, works to increase understanding of major public policy issues, and influences public policy through education and advocacy. The League is a nonpartisan organization that never supports or opposes political parties or candidates, and membership is open to all people 16 years and above of all gender identities. With more than 100 years of experience, the League is one of America's oldest and most trusted civic nonprofit organizations. Our ground rules for today are pretty straightforward. We have seated our candidates in alphabetical order. We each will make an opening statement of 1 minute. Then our questions will proceed. These are questions generated by the sponsoring group of this forum, and also questions presented by you, the audience members, on your note cards. Each candidate will have 60 seconds to answer each question. Our timekeeper will give them a 15-second warning, and when they see the red stop sign, please finish your sentence and don't start another one. And as the reference said, there are 3 candidates who declined to participate today, but who were invited. Okay, so I think we will now begin with our opening statements, and going first will be Mrs. Addie Daniels Lane. Thank you.
So, good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us this afternoon. I am, as was said, Addie Daniels Lane. I am a long-term resident of the city of Trenton, a graduate of the Trenton Public Schools, having attended from kindergarten through 9th grade. I am a 37-year retiree from the Trenton Board of Education, having taught and served as a vice principal and principal for over 12 or 13 years. For the past 6 years, I have served on the school board, was appointed first by Mayor Jackson and reappointed later by Mayor Cusiora. And so my commitment is to children. I want to see the district succeed. I'd like to promote academic achievement and be able to address the social emotional needs of both our students and our staff. And again, my heart is always with children, and I've been working with children for the past more than 37 years at this point, in a number of capacities in the community, at church, as well as in school. That is who I am. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next to speak will be Mrs. Yolanda Navarro Lopez. And you have an opening statement, please.
Thank you to all for being here this afternoon. I really appreciate it. Is that it? I have a preacher voice. I can speak without. Okay, here we go. My name is Yolanda Majedo Lopez. As I was introduced, I am originally from New York. I have been living in Trenton for the past 34 years. My husband and I are pastors of Church of God in Commerce Street here in Trenton for the past 33 years. We are ordained ministers of Church of God. And the reason I'm sitting here today is because I was appointed to do a job back in 2017, and that job has been long, it's been arduous, it's been difficult, but we've been working, and I say we because this is a team effort. We've been working really hard to make things much better at the Trenton Board of Education. We have started a work that is now beginning to produce results, and I would like to see that through. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And now we'll hear from candidate Mr. Larry Traylor.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Larry Treller. I am a native-born resident of the city of Trenton. I grew up here. I attended the public school system here. And going off to college and coming back, one of my main things as a young man decides where he wants to go and what he wants to do, I decided I wanted to make a difference in my town. So often young people feel like there is no opportunity. There is nothing that, like, there's no life here in the city. And I think that that's not true. I think that we have to have people come back, make a difference, and be those pillars that can make the community we want to see. I'm running for the school board because education is deep to my heart. It is because of the teachers in the district, the educators in the community, that I was able to go off and do the things that I do. And now being able to come back, I want to protect those resources. I want to expand those opportunities to make sure that we are serving the students in the district to the best of our abilities.
Thank you very much. I would like to take a moment to ask the audience. I forgot to ask you to not only silence your phones, but let's we've got multiple videotapes going on here, so everybody in the community will have a record online, live streaming. Please keep your own photo taking and recording to a minimum. Okay, so now we'll start with our first question to the candidates, and we'll be rotating the order that they speak. So first to answer this question will be candidate Marrero Lopez. The responsibilities of a school board member are to oversee the academic, legal, financial, and health of the school district. How will you represent the community in that role?
I would say I will continue. No, keep using that one that worked for you. Yeah. I'll take that one.
I would say that I would continue to follow the responsibilities that all board members have, in as far as being proactive in overseeing how our children are doing, first of all, because the first thing that we need to remember is that this is all about the student. If they're doing well, then we're doing a job that's good. If they're not doing well, then we have to find out how we can help to make them do better. So far, we have seen, when I started back in 2017, we had a tumultuous relationship with our unions. And as of this time, we have improved in such a way that we're beginning to see that our teachers are comfortable and that they are beginning to show results with our students.
Thank you. Thank you. The next person to ask that question will be candidate Traylor. Do you need me to repeat it?
Yes, did you repeat it?
The responsibilities of a school board member are to oversee the academic, legal, financial, and health of a school district. How will you represent the community in that role?
I believe that one of the key responsibilities of a school board member is to stay educated and trained in the roles and responsibilities of the board. One of the great things about the work of this current board is that this current board is one of 25 school boards in the state of New Jersey that is certified by the New Jersey School Board Association. The board is certified, every school board member is certified. I have, as I started this journey on the campaign to be a school board member, have started attending those trainings, met with the educational leader of the district, the superintendent, and have been very focused on doing my work. At the end of the day, I'm a member of this community. A lot of my work in my day job and in my organizational work outside is rooted in community partnerships. And I believe that we have to have the community at the table. We have to be informed and educated, and we have to make sure that the community is aware and informed of the work of the board and how they can collaborate with us.
Thank you. And finally, on the same question, candidate Daniels Lang.
So again, good afternoon. And so certainly I'd like to amplify the remarks of my colleagues here. First of all, training is important so that we understand what is required in terms of the academics, the legal, and the financial health of the district. Second of all, we have to be focused and involved in committees. What you see on Monday night is not what in fact transpires. The work goes on before that time. We serve on a number of committees so that we can focus in directly on different aspects of what goes on at the Board of Education. Was mentioned before, a part of that is training so that you will know what you're doing. I was a 37-year educator, but I still had to learn to look at things from a different perspective because the board perspective is for the entire district rather than a specific school. So I had to change my whole lens in terms of that particular piece. And again, train myself. We went to trainings for negotiations. How does that happen? We go to trainings about how to ask the right questions. What questions should you ask? About budget development. Again, that's a big process, and you have to learn before you can actually act or do.
Thank you very much. Okay, we'll now go on to question number 2. The first person to answer this question will be candidate Trailer, and this is the question. What do you see as current challenges affecting the Trenton School District, and what are your recommendations, if any, for reform?
We have a few challenges. One is very present in our community is a capacity issue. Our buildings are reaching capacity. We have seen a growth since the pandemic in our population. The city has seen a growth in over 8,000 residents since the last reports in like 2019. And as a result, a lot of those are young families. They are primarily in the early phases of the academic journey, and we need to be intentional about how they grow up in the district, how they, one of the other issues we're seeing in the district is, or not issues, challenges, is the fact that before students would drop off, they would go to other districts, they would go to charter schools, and we're not seeing that. We're seeing that consistency stay. So we need to build new schools. We need to find more support around, especially our bilingual students, expanding professional services for them. So I think that's one of the primary areas of focus that we have.
Thank you. And next to answer this question will be candidate Daniels Lane.
Right. With respect to that, some of the challenges specifically are around academic achievement. We know that we have challenges there, and those challenges were amplified by the pandemic and learning loss that occurred during that particular time. With respect to that, some of the things that we're doing is we're focusing on revising the curriculum, aligning it to the state standards, providing professional development to our teachers and staff. And then also in terms of that, we're also looking at assessment of students and also how to, in fact, address whatever the assessment results show. So there is implementation. We're also looking at social emotional wellness. As I said, we know that there's a lot of trauma out in our community, and again, amplified by the pandemic. We know that you have to provide social emotional wellness activities and support for both students as well as staff, because if the staff is not well, the students won't be well either. In addition to that, we do have a shortage of specialized staff in the sense that there's certain areas that are hard to fill. And so there's a lot of recruitment going on so that we can fill those areas.
Thank you. And now the same question to candidate Marrero Lobo.
Yes, I think that the most pressing issues at present are the academic achievements, the infrastructures of our schools, and having space for our growing population and special education. What we've done is we have had demographics that we've done. So we've been preparing for the influx of new students coming in. One of the things that we have to do is to look to the future also. Many of the decisions that we make today, we cannot resolve, but we can set a foundation for the next board. A lot of this work that we're doing is work that we cannot do overnight. It has to take time. An example would be that in order for us to build new schools, we have to have our buildings to full capacity. All our schools have to be working and we have to have land so SBA can give us the funding to build new schools.
Thank you. We'll now go to question number 3, and candidate Daniels Lane will be going first this round. And the third question is, what school district activities have you been involved in?
Well, okay, as I said before, certainly having taught in the school system, I have relationships with a lot of people that still remain. One of the things I try to do is to support activities such as when we're informed about certain things that go on in the school system. We are not in the day-to-day operations. However, when there are special events and we're invited in, I have read during Read Across America. I've attended special events that I have been invited to, because you just don't walk in and say, I am who I am and here I am, right? You have to be invited to specific events, supported at graduations and other celebrations. So those are the kinds of things that we do, in addition to all the work that we do at the board building.
Thank you. And candidate Marrero Lopez.
I have to do what Addie has just said. Many times, our participation is participation that is really not seen, it's behind the scenes. We have participated for this in Read Across America when they invite us to the tea parties or different activities that they may have. But we are not allowed to just show up at the schools and see how things are running. That is against statute. That is against our role and responsibilities. When the superintendent invites us, we go, and it's really not our job to really be seen. Our job is to do work so that things can improve. Many people take this opportunity and this role for political reasons. We're not political. I'm not political. And so this is really difficult for me to have to come and try to sell myself. I am not doing that. I am working on a team, and I hope that you guys can see that we are a team and not just individuals.
Thank you. And next, the same question to candidate Trey.
Most of my relationship with the school district has been attending school board meetings. I've been very interested in just the work of the board the last couple of months, attending, listening virtually or in person, and asking questions. And for me, the work of engaging young people happens beyond just what the school district provides. There's countless organizations and groups that are focused on empowering and engaging young people. One of my great privileges I have now, being an alumni of Rutgers University, is being able to go back and speak to the students there. One of the big focuses I hear there and elsewhere is how we are preparing young people to enter the college area around. And how are we supporting them beyond just academics, but when it comes to social and emotional belonging, when it comes to networking, when it comes to how do you take full advantage of the resources that are presented here. So I hope to be able to apply that in the work of the board, so that when our students are going to those places, they are prepared to the best of their ability.
Thank you. Okay, our next question, and we'll be beginning with candidate Marrero Lopez. And this is a question. Please describe the school system's value system and how it aligns with your own value system.
The school's value system. We believe as a school board that every single child has the right to an education that will provide for his or her future. We believe that every child in the district should be taught to be citizens of their community. And when I say citizens of their community, involved in their community, that will work towards the progress of our city. That holds so true with my personal values. And that is why I accepted to be on the board. Being on the board is not a paid position. It is a volunteer position. Being on the board means that people will come before you and they will tell you what you will die of because they're not happy with many things. However, we have to listen and be and do the best we can for the good of our city.
Thank you. And now the same question to candidate Trailer.
The district is focused on making sure we educate the young and the youth so that they can be college and career ready. So that we're developing the whole child, not just, parts of them. And I believe that in my heart and soul, because the work that I do in my life and how I orient my life is about giving back. It is about helping developing, our youth so that they can be able to take full advantage of all the opportunities in front of them. I have peers who did not go to college and are struggling to find work. So many young people in the city have to work between Amazon or in the service industry to make their ends meet. And they're deeply underpaid and overworked. And seeing that, it frustrates me because our youth are our future. We can't afford homes, we're trapped in college debt. And we need resources and guidance how to navigate the world. I think that is so important with the work of the school board to develop those resources, develop those opportunities.
Thank you. And now the same question on values to candidate Daniels Lane.
Thank you. So in terms of the district is focused on developing the whole child. And certainly we believe that every child has the capacity to learn, but they learn in different ways. We have responsibility to prepare students for their choice of college and or career. And that responsibility we do in a variety of sources. We also want our students to become engaged citizens so that they become knowledgeable about how the government works and what role they can actually play in government. In addition, my values, it aligns with my values in that I've always been a person that's been interested in young folks in various capacities, having served as an advisor to the debutante group for about 20 years, taught Sunday school at church for about 15 years, and certainly whatever we did in school when I was actually in the district, over and above to make sure that our students were taken care of. And so that's the person who I am, that I want to, volunteering to give back to a district that gave me so much.
Thank you very much. Okay, our next question, and we'll be beginning with candidate Trailer. And this is a question. Please describe how our school district can best ensure that students are prepared for success in school and in life.
I definitely believe that we need to incorporate a multi-pronged strategy around how we develop life skills with our young, how we prepare them for, being able to go into the business realm, being able to understand how to do networking and interview practices, as well as, an early exposure to vocational programming. I definitely believe in my heart that our students will go off and do different things. Some will go off and go to college and have great careers. Others need to be exposed to vocational and job training programs at earlier ages, because by the time they're in middle school and high school and they're graduating, it's a bit too late. And we need to expose them early on and help them develop the skills that they need to be on the right tracks to be able to enter those careers as soon as they graduate.
Thank you. The same question to candidate Daniels Lane.
As was said, we have to focus on the whole child. We have to focus on what that future will look like for the whole child, providing things like civic education, providing for financial literacy, providing for an early exposure to career choices, and also making sure that students have opportunities to have experiences outside of school, such as the athletics which are provided, and also being able to step outside of the classroom and extend learning through apprenticeships, connections with community organizations, and also businesses. There's a lot of mentoring that goes on in terms of people from different departments around the city and the state, and also from connections with various sororities and fraternities that actually come into the schools and mentor our students and talk about life experiences and some of those things that we're not able to teach. They provide the support, because it does take a village to educate the child in all the areas of responsibility that they need to be educated in.
Thank you. And now the same question to candidate Mahalo Lopez.
So to repeat it,
Yes. Describe how our school district can best ensure that students are prepared for success in school and in life.
I think that one of the best ways we can do that is by holding our children to a higher standard, not dumbing down the curriculum, not being able to teach them to be resilient, teaching them to have interpersonal relationships, so that when they are in the world, as we say, when they go out into the world, that they will have the capacity to bounce back from any setback. They will have the capacity to communicate with their peers and come to an understanding and not have disagreements in such a way that they cannot get along and they cannot work together. When we talk about preparing our children, we need to prepare them by letting them know that they are highly intelligent and that even if they learn in different manners, they are still capable of learning and doing great things. We have to be positive and a positive role model for them.
Thank you. We'll now go to our next question, and candidate Daniels Lane will start us off with this question. Do you know where the monies that fund our schools come from? And do you know this by percentages? What are your budget priorities? So it's a general funding question, where the money comes from, and where you would, what your priority might be.
Okay, so the majority of our funding, our budget is about $419 million. The majority of our funds come from state and federal funding. The city contributes a small percentage of that $419 million. Our request was about, our request should have been about $45 million from the city. However, the city provided $22 million for last year's budget. So again, the money comes from the state and the federal government. Now, in terms of my priorities involve those things that direct instruction for students is first. That's the priority. Anything that supports direct instruction for children, but we know that there are a variety of services that the district has to provide that have to be funded. If you have transportation, the buses have to be maintained, the bus drivers have to be paid. If you have physical therapists, speech therapists, they have to be paid. You have nurses, they have to be paid. And so again, the Trenton District is a service provider. And so that a lot of the expenditures will have to do with supporting and engaging people that do the job that actually provide the service.
And as my running mate said, the majority,
Okay, so candidate Marrero Lopez, the same question.
as my running mate said, the majority of our funding comes from state and from federal funding. The state determined that the city should give us 45 million part of the budget. However, we don't get the full amount. We try not to raise anyone's taxes. When we talk about the budget, we always look and see that it is aligned with our 5-year strategic plan. That there's where we will find what's most important to us, which includes the student achievement, which includes the well-being of the whole child, includes special education. It includes strategies to get more funding, such as an example, when we redistricted the district, we were able to fill in all the schools. And because we did that, SBA came to us, and now we're having a new school being built in the South Ward.
Thank you. And finally, the same question on money to candidate trading.
Absolutely. As my running mate said, most of the budget comes from state and federal dollars. We get around 22 million from the city, which, which also highlights the, another part of that is in how we think about our budget is, as one of my running mates said, it's about how we focus primarily on instructional learning, how we support the student. We align the budget around the need assessment along with the 5-year strategic plan. If you think about the budget as like a dollar, 28 cents of that goes to class instruction, making sure that we have the curriculum, the resources for students, the support services when it comes to educators, so that we can develop, so that the students can have the best opportunities that they can provide. The district has also been very intentional about making sure that we have a living wage for our educators, because we know that it's very important for us to not just have any teacher, but the best teachers for the students in the district.
Thank you. Our next question comes from the audience, and we'll be beginning with candidate Mariano Lopez. Is a return of the vocational school in the near future?
We do not have a vocational school per se, but we do have learning communities within the Trenton Central High School. There are children, our students that are specializing in mechanics, in hairdressing, in restaurant and hospitality. We now have Daylight Twilight that has just opened its Career Resource Center, and Daylight Twilight will be focusing on business. So we also have a partnership with SciPet and with the Mercer County Vocational School. So we have students who want to maybe learn a trade that we're not offering, and we pay their tuition at these schools. So we don't have a vocational school per se, but we do have different areas of study where they can specialize and they can earn a certificate, such as in the health services, by the time they graduate.
Thank you. And now the same question to candidate Traylor.
Yes, so much on the campaign trail. We've talked to people, and people have talked about the need for us to have a vocational program, because the community knows how important alternative pathways to careers are for our young people. And there part of that conversation was this pride in having our own school around that. The district has been very intentional around partnering with the county vocational school and offering shuttles for the students, so that the students can get there. Because I think one of the other problems that we've heard on the trail from the community members is that, yes, the county has a vocational school, but it's not ours. And how do we get there? And there's conversations around money. Like, is that feasible for us to have that? If we can provide the students the same resources and opportunities while partnering with our community partners, how can we make sure to advance that? I think the part of that is make sure that we expand exposures so that our young people are seeing those programs as early as possible.
Okay, now the third person to answer that question on vocational school is candidate Daniels Lane.
Okay, so again, as was said previously, we do not have a vocational school specifically, but we do provide opportunities for students to learn about different careers and occupations. And we actually have had partnerships with different colleges and universities so that they can extend that particular learning. One time we had a partnership with St. Francis Hospital, which was right next door to the high school, to in fact have those students who are interested in nursing actually go into the hospital and learn certain things firsthand. We don't have that vocational school, but we do have relationships and partnerships with different organizations, different businesses. We provide transportation. If there's an area that we don't have, we provide transportation for that student to get to that particular school where it is offered. The partnerships that we have are partnerships with communities in the pharmaceutical area, businesses in the pharmaceutical area, so that our students can learn about those particular opportunities. We're working to develop partnerships where there are apprenticeships with students, and we also have the Restaurant Business and Tourism Academy, which exposes our students to those particular occupations.
Thank you. The next question, which will begin with Mr. Traynor. What are your views on educators' salaries and benefits?
Majority of our budget goes to salaries and benefits. We want to make sure the district wants to make sure that we're hiring the best of the best. Because at the end of the day, those are the people who are instilling, instructing, and believing in our students. We want to make sure that our educators have a living wage, that they're not being underpaid, but also that we're making sure that we're bringing in the best. Because so often there's a misperception around public schools, around quality of teachers, the attitudes of the students, and the culture here. And the district has been very intentional about shifting that narrative. I believe we have to expand that more and engage the community more, which is why the work we're doing now is so important. Because there has been phenomenal teachers in the public school. The reason why I'm even here today is because I had teachers who were Black, who believed in the young Black man, and sat down with me outside of the classroom and said, you need to do this. We want to connect you with this. And put me on a whole trajectory, which allowed me to be the person I am today.
Thank you. And now the same question to candidate Daniels Lang.
Okay, so again, when we talk about our staff, one of the things that we have been intentional about is competitive wages, and I can say that because I've been involved in the district. Competitive wages for staff. In order to get the best people, you actually have to, in fact, engage them at a level that they understand. And so competitive wages, if we don't offer competitive wages, we have 5 other surrounding communities that will, in fact, grab the people that we need. So we have to be competitive. In terms of the benefits, we have to, again, make sure those benefits are comparable, that they provide opportunities for professional growth and development and professional learning, that there are opportunities for staff to, shall we say, move up in the district. I experienced that as a teacher. I was a teacher for a number of years, then a vice principal and then principal at 3 different levels. So there are opportunities for growth. I was able to obtain a master's degree, 2 master's degrees while I worked for Trenton, 1 in counseling, 1 in educational leadership, which both helped me to be able to do the job that I was doing more effectively.
Thank you. And the same question on educators' salaries and benefits to candidate Mariano.
As Ms. Lane was saying, we have to offer wages that are comparable to our neighboring district, and we have done that. We actually have done a little better at times, so much so that we've had districts reach out to us a little upset because they've had to raise their salaries for their teachers, for their parents, for their custodians, for their bus drivers. So when we talk about benefit salary, we're not talking just about the teachers, we're talking about every single person that touches the lives of our children. And as far as benefits, we try to give as many benefits as we can. So we help them to continue their education. If they need a master's degree, if they need professional development, we will provide that. But most importantly, we have to remember that we have to consider what is good for our staff, our employees, and what is good for the district's main responsibility, which are the children. So when we do negotiate, we always have to have that in mind.
Thank you. We're zipping through a lot of questions because there's a lot of interest, a lot of separate questions. So we're going to continue on with a few more. And the next question, and we'll be beginning with candidate Addie Daniels Lang. And the question is, what role do you feel the community should play in supporting the education of children?
So the community plays and has played a strong role in educating and supporting our children. So one of the things that we talked about are partnerships, community partnerships with churches that adopt schools, sororities, fraternities that adopt schools, businesses that adopt schools, and also to ask questions about what actually is going on in the district and how they can support. It does take a village. In terms of our social and emotional wellness for our staff and students, there are many partnerships that support that particular endeavor. Some of them are volunteer services, others are paid services. But again, the district cannot do everything by itself. So the district does need the community, the churches, the businesses, the organizations, Mercer Street Friends, and maybe I shouldn't say names, but anyhow, there are a number of organizations that actually support and engage our students in a variety of ways, food pantries and all those kinds of things are provided by a number of community partners that we have.
Thank you. Now the same question to candidate Madero Lo.
The community has been instrumental in helping us, and we're really very, very grateful for that. But I think that the most important thing for the community to do is to become informed, to come to the board meeting, to ask questions, to understand what the role of a school board member really is, what it is that we can and we cannot do. Because if that is clear in our mind, then we know what we as stakeholders or as community members need to do. We have to encourage our parents to send their children to school. If you see a child outside during school hours, approach them, call someone, let them know that they need to be in school. I mean, there's so many things that can still be done by the community. But most of all, become informed and understand what it is that's happening and why it is that it is happening at the school boards.
Thank you. And the same question to candidate Traylor.
I believe the work of the community is so important with developing the minds, shaping the lives of our young. So often, the school board and the district have talks about developing the whole child. And the work of the school district is not just to educate, shape the minds, but oftentimes the teachers, the paraprofessionals, they are second parents to the students. They are support systems for the students. They do so much more that's not even seen, just to support the well-being and nurture the development of the student, of our students. And I think that it is very important for the community to understand that and to be partners in that. Similar to what my running mate said, the work of the board and the work of educating the community in the work of the school district is so important. This is the first election in 35 years. So many people do not even know what the school board is, what the school board does. And most of the work we're doing is not just telling people who we are, but educating the community on the responsibilities and the role of the board versus the role of the superintendent, so that they can be actively more informed and better partners in the work that we have to do.
Thank you. Our next question, which will begin with candidate Madero Lopez, I'm going to join together some questions about the daily safety and any ideas to prevent school violence. So it goes something like this. What should the school district be doing to ensure the daily safety of students and staff? And as a board member, how will you introduce new ideas to prevent school violence? A big question.
Yeah, that is a loaded one. First of all, we are grateful that we have entered into partnerships with the Trenton Street teams. They are helping provide safe passage for our children to and from school. This year, they are able to go into the schools after having passed background checks and other requirements. In speaking with our children, we are, one of the most important things that we do is educate. So we are educating our children in how to disagree without becoming violent. One of the problems that we have had, unfortunately, is that our parents sometimes don't help in as far as the violence inside the schools, in the sense that at times they become so irate themselves that they do not do what they should do. So what is most important, again, is educating and providing social, emotional learning for both our students and for the parents and community.
Thank you. And I'm going to ask our timekeeper to give everybody an extra 15 or 30 seconds on this one. It's fine. Just count down to 60 and then, but it's a hard question. Okay, so now tackling that question will be candidate Traylor, and you have somewhat over a minute and a half.
Thank you. I believe that it has to be a multi-pronged approach. It has to be expanded security, but also making sure we train our security, because Historically, just having security in the building does not necessarily mean safety. We know that, we live in a mass incarceral system where our communities are overpoliced. And we don't want to reinforce those same traumas inside of the school system that so many of our students have experienced in the community. Part of that has to be the community. We have to educate and support our parents and our students to have better social emotional training and processes to be able to manage tough situations, to be able to manage conflict resolutions, to work in tension. So often, our community struggles with, calling that out and figuring out how can we come to the table to work on those things. Another thing that one of my running mates said is really great is bringing the community to the table. I think we need more parents in the school, helping with tackling those issues. We have street teams in the schools working around safe passage. How we can incorporate that and work with the city and with the security guards, the crossing guards, and all of the things in which make sure that our schools are safe between entering and leaving, as well as doing the day.
Thank you. And the same question to candidate Daniel Lane.
Okay, so in terms of me, the district, quite frankly, is very focused on safety and security of students because in addition to educating them, you can't really learn if you don't feel safe and secure. And so to that end, of course, we have security officers at various schools, at all of our schools, as a matter of fact. It's very unfortunate that in today's society, you kind of have to extend some measures just to make sure that people are safe in terms of having, the metal detectors and things of that nature in certain areas of our schools. But we do have to balance the need for that and also balance the need with community access. Because if you want the community to be involved in schools, you have to let them in, right? And so we have to figure out what's the balance there. Right now, the district is hiring a safety and security manager for the entire district, added additional security at the middle and high school levels. That's being done right now. And those specific people are on the district's payroll. But again, we're providing a new focus on conflict resolution and peer mediation. Those are some strategies that we need to equip our students when there are opportunities and there's conflict. How do you resolve that? And how can your peers help you resolve that? So again, a refocus on that in a renewed sense. We did that a number of years ago, and again, it's time to perhaps bring it back, but in the context of today's work.
Thank you. Our next question, which will begin with candidate Trailer, is this. What are your opinions of the Trenton Board of Education strategic plan?
I believe the strategic plan has been very intentional around tackling the multiple areas in which we have to engage our school communities, from targeting academic excellence to our facilities to engaging our community. We need to, the work of the plan has to, we're in, I believe, our third year. Third year. Yes, so we're in our third year of the plan, so soon we have to revisit it. And coming in with fresh eyes and a generational perspective, I hope to be able to add in how can we expand our community partnerships, how can we expand how we're engaging with our academic excellence, our support of our students, not just in the classroom, but as we know, learning loss is real. How we engage with throughout the summer, how we're engaging with them as they're going on their career, their academic journeys as they're graduating, along with some of our other issues around how we expand our facilities, how we're supporting them. So I'm really excited for this next phase of the journey because the foundation has been laid, the work has to be expanded, and I'm hoping to be a part of that.
Thank you. And now the same question to candidate Daniel Slade.
So, yes, excuse me, that strategic plan was developed with community involvement. Even during the pandemic, we came up with strategies of how to involve the community, various Zoom meetings and so on and so forth. So the community participated in the development of that particular plan. It, of course, is tied to the district goals and also tied to the superintendent's goals. So it's all aligned and tied together and reflected in the budget. So our school budget has to be reflective of the strategic plan, which is tied to the district goals, which is tied to the superintendent's goals. And in doing that, those things are reviewed on a yearly basis in terms of where are we? Where do we need to go? How do we need to modify it so that it best supports our students and the needs of today? And so again, very, very vital piece that you do have a plan and incorporates a plan for the future in terms of our facilities, our infrastructure. How do we handle our student social emotional development? And primarily goal number one has to do with academic achievement. We know that's where our focus has to be. And so that again is goal number one, and all the other goals fall in line accordingly in terms of their importance and to the success of our students.
Thank you. And now the strategic plan question to candidate Marrero.
Well, first of all, there has to be a plan. If you don't have a plan, you're going to fail. So what we've done is we've taken our vision of preparing our children for the future and broken it down into steps to see how it is that we can help them achieve what they need to achieve. So the plan includes student achievement, it includes infrastructure, it includes the whole child, the well-being of the whole child, and the physical component, which I want to say, I know that there has been a lot of distrust with the way the budget is made. However, we have auditors come in every single year, independent auditors, to looking at the books. We have fiscal auditors come in every other year, and they usually stay for a year or even longer looking at our books. We have won 12, 13 years in a row the Certificate of Excellence for Financial Reporting. Not a lot of districts get to say that. And we also have, for the past 3 years, won a very prestigious award for budgeting, which only 3 school districts in New Jersey this year won. So our strategic plan is important to lead us to where we want to get, and it is important in order for us to know how we're going to plan everything.
Thank you. My next question, and it will be beginning with candidate Daniel Lang. What programs and methods would you advise to encourage parents to be partners on their children's in their children's education? Programs and methods to encourage parents to be partners in their children's education.
Many of our elementary schools have a parent liaison. And that parent liaison is designed to connect specifically with parents and provide them with how they can support their children as they move through the educational realm. In addition to that, there is something, it's similar to a parent academy, which is district-wide. So every school has, again, a parent liaison at the elementary level to connect with parents on a different level. Throughout the district, there is a person who coordinates activities for parents across the district. And those activities culminate in something like a parent academy, where there are different sessions that are held at the board building, and they actually provide, if you need babysitting services, that is provided, as well as refreshments, so that you can learn various things that will help you to support your child. And also, if you have specific needs that the board can help you with in terms of food or housing and things of that nature, then they can give you resources that you can actually engage in to help yourself. And so that's how, again, parents can be engaged. It's a school-wide process, but it's also drilling down to teachers, provide opportunities to connect with parents to say how you can connect specifically in my classroom to help your students achieve what they need to achieve.
Thank you.
Could you ask the question again?
Yes. What programs and methods would you advise to encourage parents to be partners in their children's education?
Okay. Well, we do have many after-school programs for our children. And I think it's important for the parents to not see them just as a means for their child to get extra tutoring, or not as a need of having a safe place for them to be while they get home from work, but that they should also be able to go into the program and see and learn for themselves what it is that their children need. We have to provide, I think that one of the things that we can do better and we hope to do better is to continue with our parent liaison in providing education to the parents in order to help them teach and learn with your children. One of the things that is really important is always to encourage them to read with their children, to have books for their children, to go outside of the city and open their eyes to different possibilities for them, because that will create a dream in every child and that will help them to better their achievements in school, which is what we want.
Thank you. Mr. Traylor.
To add on to what my mate said, yes, the district has a lot of programming and liaisons and work around engaging parents. The issue is, as I think I said earlier, it is about getting parents engaged and getting parents informed. There's so many parents that are working 2 to 3 jobs, working night shifts, that are unable to even engage, even if they wanted to, with what's going on in the district. And we have to figure out how we can engage with them, how we work on their schedules, whether we do things virtually, if we do things through Zoom, if we have video modules in which we can share with them, figuring out how we can create resource networks so that our community can find multiple ways to get informed. But the other part is about sharing it out, because the district can do all this stuff, but if the community does not know about it, if the community is not engaged with it, if the community is not participating in it, it limits the growth of not only the parent, but also the child. So we have to figure out and be intentional on how can we expand those opportunities to non-traditional means to engage the various parent communities that we have in the district.
Okay, thank you. We're now going to start on our final question before you have a chance to give your closing remarks. And this question will begin with candidate Madero Lopez. How important is staff diversity when meeting the needs of all our district students?
It is extremely important. We need to have a staff that reflects what our community is. We need to have staff that reflect what the student body is. They are the ones that our children look up to. We need to have positive role models for every single member of our student body. So I would say that it is so important that we need to continue to look to hire outside of what everyone else is hiring. We need to have students, my roommate here always says that he had his first Black male model as a teacher. And you don't see that a lot. I was blessed. I had, my first Black teacher was in 2nd grade in New York. So you have to, and she was a woman, so you have to have that kind of role model for our children. So I would say very important.
Thank you. Yes, candidate Trey.
It's very important to see, as a young child, want to see yourself in leadership as your educator, as you know, when you're growing up. Like as I was saying the other day, leaving Trent and going to college, going into the workplace, it is a cultural shift that many of our young people do not experience growing up, because in many ways this town is a bubble. You know, it's very ethnically diverse and is largely represented by people of color. And so often you don't think about those things until you leave, and then you think about how important it is for you to have the right people guiding and mentoring and nurturing you so that you can succeed outside of here. And I think that because of that, it's so crucial for us to figure out how we can engage the people of color to serve in the district, because students need to see themselves in positions of authority. Students need to see themselves, and those are the ones that live here. Those are the people who can connect these young people to different community opportunities and understand what they're going through as young people navigating the system.
Thank you. And the same question to candidate Daniels Lane.
So in answer to that question, yes, the diversity of staff is very important. The diversity of the board is very important in that we are the leaders for, I'm saying we are the leaders for the district, and students need to be able, students and parents and everyone else needs to be able to see themselves reflected in the board. Our team is diverse. If you look here, you have youth, you have age, you have experience, and so you have a diverse team here sitting in front of you. Cultural relevance is very important. You don't really understand and can relate to folks unless you understand a little bit better about what they're experiencing and what traumas, in fact, impact them on a daily basis. So cultural relevance is important in staff, but it's also relevant in terms of the materials that we use to teach our children. You need to be able to see themselves in the materials that are used to teach and also the materials that they read. And so that is the focus. Having a role model, a person that they can look at and see themselves is very important. I can see that I can be that person, right? And so that gives people hope. In addition, we have to do targeted recruitment so that we do have a staff that reflects who the students are, that the students can relate to, and again, can enrich their experiences by association with those particular staff members. And again, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Well, done an amazing job of answering 14 difficult questions. So I applaud you for being willing to do that. We'll now allow you each 1 minute for a closing statement. And these will be given in random, which is candidate Marrero Lopez first, candidate Daniels Lane second, and candidate Larry Traylor third. So closing statements, please.
Okay, well, the reason we're here is because we want you to please consider us and vote us back to the board. I'm not asking you to vote for me because I'm not promoting myself. I'm asking you to vote for us because we are a team. And if you have been here for the past 7 years, you must have noticed that there is a great difference at the Board of Education. Are we perfect? Are we at the max of what we can do? No, but we are certainly not where we used to be. We are one board, we're united, we're working together, we have seen progress, we have set foundations, and we want to continue to build on that foundation so that we can lead and others, such as our running mate here, can come in and continue the work and the challenges that is facing the district.
Thank you. Now we'll hear from candidate Daniels Lane.
Okay, so again, I'm just going to repeat that in terms of our team, we are a diverse team, that we know that the superintendent is the educational leader of the district, and it's our charge to ask him questions, to meet with him periodically, to ask questions to various committees so that we are truly engaged and truly understand and to learn and get training for ourselves. So again, in terms of us, well, I was asked a question about what have you done recently or something like that, and I forgot just the other day, I was over at the Career Resource Center opening at right down the street at Daylight Twilight, where they were celebrating a new career resource that has been developed by staff members and engaged the parents and other civic leaders about career education in the district. So, you know, sometimes you forget what you did, right? I'm like, oh, that was just the other day. And so, again, there are many opportunities for us to be engaged, but we have to be engaged in a certain way that follows the rules that are set down. We have very specific roles of how we can act, how we cannot act. A lot of times people come and they want us to beat up on people, and we can't do that at the board. You're not allowed to do that. So.
And candidate Traylor.
I am very grateful to be on this journey, to be with my running mates, to go to the community events that we do. We do like 4 or 5 a day. To talk to the parents and the community members, to hear the good and the bad. Because that's the work of the school board. School board is the representative for the district to the community. The importance of us being present, being engaged, but also creating partnerships. Like, this is not a one-way street. We come to you, but the hope is that after this election, you don't forget about us. You come to the board meetings, stay engaged, stay involved, keep your voice strong, because people care. And everything that I have heard, everything I've engaged with, everyone I've talked to, I'm going to take those lessons with me as we go on to election day and beyond, because that's how we make our community better. That the school system and the quality of our education is the lifeblood of the city. So please vote this election, tell your friends, tell 20 people you know. Everyone knows everyone in Trenton. Like the saying goes, like 30 degrees of separation. Please make sure people know, people vote. We cannot afford to not engage in this election.
Thank
Also-
you. Okay, well, on behalf of the League of Women Voters, I'd like to thank and commend the 3 candidates who agreed to keep the vote. I would like to thank the organizers and sponsors of this event, and the Mercer County Community College for providing the space. And I would also like to thank you, the audience, for being engaged citizens, informed voters, and all around great community activists. Thank you.